Hey guys, we're the Pixelists, and we are updating you on some amazing news. An update on the D&D Wizards of the Coast 1.0 OGL, and how there is no longer going to be a 1.1, 1.2, or really any version. It's a huge win for D&D fans all over, and we, the Pixelists, we want to talk about it today. If you're first time checking out, sorry, buddy, just cut you right off there,
No, no,
as is usual.
I was just agreeing.
We're just excited together. If you're checking out our channel for the first time, we cover all sorts of just nerd stuff that we enjoy, and being massive D&D players ourselves, this has been something pretty interesting to us. So, Will, this, holy cow, man, I did not expect this.
Me neither, dude. This it didn't seem like anyone was expecting this from just, like, the reactions I was seeing on Twitter and everything. Um, I it feels too good to be true, but, I mean,
Yeah,
is that just the cynic in me? And,
I
uh,
feel the same way.
it's like we got everything we wanted, and real quick background, they put out this statement and, um so if you've been following the story, the OGL 1.1 leaked, everyone got really upset. They backtracked. They put out the OGL 1.2 and they said, "Hey, this is just we want to get feedback from you in this process and we'll move forward." So they put out the 1.2. They elicited feedback and that
Mhm.
feedback came back. And basically what that said is 80% of people do not want to publish content under this new proposed OGL, and 90% would have to change some aspect of their business to accommodate it, and 90% basically are dissatisfied with deauthorizing the original
Right.
OGL. And so they put out that statement, and they were like, "Okay, so we're just going to leave the original in place." And everyone was like, "Wait, what?" So I don't know. I mean, this is like a massive win, and I'm excited, but at the same time, it's like you still tried to do that, and so
Yeah.
I don't feel safe, you know?
Yeah, I think it's a massive win for D&D, D&D players, content creators. I think it's still a massive win. I think the bridges are a bit already burned in that
Yeah.
now people have so much excitement. What was the thing about Paizo? How like their revenue in the last 2 weeks is more than they did like in the last year or something?
Wow, I hadn't seen that, but I believe it.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a very exciting. I said last time we talked that I was a bit apprehensive for like the world of D&D. I'm actually like, now that I've had some time to kind of like marinate on my thoughts, I'm a bit excited about it because now it does feel like the world has opened up a bit, and it feels like the only losers is Wizards of the Coast. So
Yeah, and I'm interested to see, like, what happens from here because, speaking of Paizo, they put out that or they're creating that orc license, which, like, all these other
right.
people signed on for. Are they I mean, I gotta assume at least Paizo is still going to do that, but are all those other entities still going to? Or are they gonna be like, "Well, now the OGL is where we wanted it, so let's just not create the extra work on our part to shift to something new. Let's just keep going." Or are they going to still be like, "We don't trust Wizards and Hasbro, like, let's still move forward with this." Like, I wonder where the momentum
Think
is gonna be.
Yeah, I think the what's great is now people can shift their content to be more like just generically tabletop-esque
Yeah.
without the burden of like previously it was like, oh, I need to like shift my content, but there's still like this apprehension of big bad wizards. If they come after me, like what am I going to do? Or how do I cover my bases? Now that that's totally off the table, I think this is great for creators because they can simply focus on creating content, and it's more money in their pocket, which is what we should want. We should want to see D&D businesses flourish as they create content that can go across any system, any setting. So I think it's pretty exciting. The Creative Commons license, by the way, is that their answer to Orc? Like, is this something that already existed, or are they making this new as like a?
I think it already existed,
Okay,
and so they're adding the SRD to that, which is another part of the announcement, which for you don't know that the systems reference document is what includes all of, like, the base mechanics and stuff. The OGL and the systems reference document kinda go hand in hand. But I saw and I haven't looked deeply into this, so, y'all excuse me because 'cause I'm probably not speaking with full, correct authority here, but that was, like, a big move too that they added the SRD to the Creative Commons license because it kinda gives you could either publish under the OGL or this Creative Commons license now. And again, I this is all purely anecdotal, but I was seeing some tweets and stuff from people being like, "Oh, now Strahd is in the SRD, which is like a trademark
Yeah.
entity."
And I think, and again, you guys let us know in the comments if we're misunderstanding this at all. I think my understanding of it is the things that was the gray area, and they even mentioned it in their 1.2 survey playtest whatever announcement, that owl bears and like magic missile, like iconic Wizards of the Coast things, you would not be able to use those freely. And I remember reading some frustrations around like, is that really a Wizards of the Coast IP or creation or proprietary? And there was a lot of friction around like what actually is proprietary and what isn't. So it seems like we've removed that gray area now, and like you mentioned, like a bigger module, Curse of Strahd, but all these other like smaller gray areas are now no longer something to worry about. At least until Wizards try something like this again, which I don't know if they will. The blowback was so big. I even had a friend of mine who sometimes you read about these protests, people like canceling subscriptions en masse, and you're kind of like, all right, is it really going to make a difference?
Right.
Like the biggest connector is like, I remember Blizzard, a lot of people canceled their WoW subscription when some things happened the last couple of years, and it kind of like was like things just kind of continued, I guess. It's been exciting to see how the community movement seems to have really made an impact. There was the leaked document about Hasbro being aware of the massive subscription cancellations. And then going back to what I was saying a second ago, a friend of mine who I didn't even know had a subscription was like, yeah, I canceled it because of it. And I was like, wow, this isn't as grassroots as I thought it was. This
Yeah.
is like, has some real momentum, which hats off to you guys for, helping make this happen. So
Yeah, it really hit the mainstream, which is impressive, which I'm sure, Wizards was freaking out about, which is probably why they've, gone this far, especially with their movie coming out. I'm sure that really kinda had them worried too, because I don't know what the budget of that movie was, but I'm sure they've sunk a lot of money into that to try to, you know, raise the brand awareness even more. So I'm still kinda curious to see how that does now. People still kinda have a sour taste in their mouth.
I think also, and I'm not going to give Kyle Brink too much credit, the executive producer of Dungeons and Dragons, and he's the one who's kind of been authoring some of these more community style direct community letters. Part of me wonders if there is some internal tension between, I'd say, the D&D team and Wizards of the Coast, but more directly the D&D team and Hasbro. Part of me wonders if this survey, that we're really excited of the results of it, part of me wonders if that was even more internally purposed, in the sense of, hey, I want to, there's people in D&D's team who's like, I want to fight for the players. Let us do a survey. Let us show you the data. And then hopefully maybe I'm being too optimistic. I don't know. But, I just know there's so much, when there's a parent company involved, there is so much tension between what the people on the ground actually want and the stuffy executives in a
Yeah,
boardroom. So I
100%.
don't know.
I mean, I feel like that's fair to say. I bet a lot. I mean, I guess I can't say a lot, but I would guess that there's a fair number of people that, like, work for D&D Beyond or just work for Wizards that work there because they love D&D, and so that they didn't want this. So I'm with you there. I think it's more the executive
Yeah.
top office
I love also that they didn't, they took away the virtual tabletop policy that they were putting in, which was a little bit vague. I think maybe the first version had like something around it needs to be free, but then they had a deliberate policy around it for the second version. I think this is great. It's a digital world. People want to play digitally. And so that's really great too. My question, here's where I'm a little bit cynical, is they reading this document, they say we're leaving OGL 1.0A, which is the OGL we've had in the past, as it is, untouched. And then they mentioned they're going to add the SRD 5.1 to the Creative Commons license. What I'm cynical about is they already weren't changing the OGL 1.0A. They were simply releasing a new OGL for new content. Anything you create, if you going forward, has to use that. So I don't know if that's a half truth. And then also they're putting the SRD 5.1 under this license. what's stopping them from saying, hey, now we have version 5.2 under this new thing? Like, I don't know. I'm kind of apprehensive still. Maybe I've just been burned too much by corporations, but I'm very happy. But kind of like you said earlier, I'm just like, is this too good to be true? And I don't know, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, for the immediate future, it seems like we're good to go. But like 5 years from now, you know,
Mhm.
10 years from now, I mean, everyone thought the original OGL was irrevocable, and yet they still tried. So even
Right.
though they're claiming, "Hey, we can't do anything to the Creative Commons license," so that blah blah blah, like doesn't mean they're not going to look for some loophole or something to try down the road. So I'm with you. I mean, for now, it's a win, but I think we got to keep our eyes on that work license. And I'm sure the damage has been done in a way. Even if people
Yeah.
continue to publish under this, like you mentioned earlier, I'm sure they're going to kind of start skewing to the more and more. I don't know what the word I'm looking for is, but like vague, I guess, or more and more open to just continue to
Yeah.
release
Can
the
work.
OGL. Yeah,
Right. Can work in a multitude of places. Like, especially for you guys watching the channel, like Will and I have talked a lot about, like, we love D&D. We've as DMs ourselves have created a lot of homebrew D&D content. So we've talked about like what does it look like to create content for you guys who enjoy D&D also. And I know personally speaking, Will, I'm definitely thinking of now shifting. And I'm not even saying thinking, like I will. Like anything I create is going to be as generically applicable as possible while also still having like the punchiness of like people knowing what it's for, I guess. So
yeah,
I mean, why not? Right? Why not do that? So,
exactly.
all right. Well, anything else you want to mention on this document?
Uh, no, I don't think so. Good news at the end of the day, but
Yeah. Yeah.
still
All
guarded.
right. Yeah. So let us know in the comments what you think. What's your reaction? Is this too good to be true? Or are you excited? I think in the short term, Will and I, we're excited. This feels like a big win. So also, if you're first time checking out our channel, definitely get us a subscribe hit. And it sounds like a weird drug. Get yourself a subscribe hit.
Come on,
And
man.
we have some other D&D content, including Legend of Vox Machina. You can check out. My man Will has some freaking amazing breakdowns of those episodes. And yeah, just stay tuned to our channel. So thanks for listening, guys, and we'll catch you later.
Bye,
See
y'all.
ya.